A treasure in Puget Sound. Treasure in Puget Sound. Focus question. How does everyone's desire for the treasure affect real life? My name is Riley Hawkins. I hereby record the best treasure hunt I ever took part in. Best because the treasure was real. The treasure of Puget Sound. The adventure began the night Johnny Bones came to stay at my mom's hotel in Tacoma, Washington. He was a large old sailor who paid my mom in cash, then dragged his chest down the hall to his room. We didn't hear from him again until the next afternoon when he appeared at the front desk. He handed me a faded mania envelope. "Will ya put these in your safe?" he asked. His accent made me smile. I thought sailors take like that only in old movies, but I nodded. "Can I trust you not to peek at what's inside?" I nodded again. "Do you promise? Cross your heart and swear to die?" "Stick a needle in my eye," I said. "You seem like a good kid," Johnny Bones said. He pulled a $10 bill from his pocket and pushed it toward me. "I'd like that to be me. Look out. If I ever spotted a man with one leg near the hotel," he said, "I should alert him." Missing one leg, sure, and 2 fingers from his left hand. For emphasis, Bones shook his left hand in my face. A few nights later, a strange man did come to the hotel. We were a hood, so I couldn't get a good look at him. He limped through to the lobby and down the hallway towards the rooms. "Can I help you?" I called after him. He growled over his shoulder. "I've been looking for Johnny Bones and what's owed me." I called Johnny Bones' room. Although my hand was shaking when he picked up, I said, "Sir, your package has arrived." Your package has arrived." My voice was shaking too. "Me? What?" shouted Johnny Bones. The TV blared in the background. "The package you told me to watch for. It's arrived and it is headed your way." "Argh," Bones said and hung up. The limp man stopped and turned to look at me. Just then, Bones stepped silently out of his room. He tiptoed down the hallway in the opposite direction. The limping man turned back in time to see Bones disappearing through the fire exit. "Where is it?" the man roared after him. He didn't try chasing Bones, maybe because of his leg. My mother appeared at my side. "If you don't leave now, I'll call the police," she shouted. The hooded man disappeared through the same door as Johnny Bones. After he left, I told my mom about the manila envelope. She opened the safe. The envelope was filled with papers. One had the name Captain Glint written on it. Some notes, when bad spelling and worse handwriting, suggested that a huge treasure might be hidden in an island in Puget Sound. Best of all was a handmade map of the island with a red cross drawn on it. Mom thought we should take the envelope and its contents to her dad. Grandpa Jack was a retired fishing captain. If anyone knew about the island on the map, she thought he would. We took the map and notes to him, and I told him as much as I knew about Bones. I also told him about the man with one leg. Grandpa Jack knew about Captain Glint and the rumors of hidden treasures. A treasure. He believed that if the map was real, there could be a fortune on the island. We couldn't keep the fortune, but he said there might also be a reward. "Years ago," he said, "Glint and his men were able to hijack a military ship. Somehow, they found out it was carrying a lot of gold and snuck aboard. They were caught, but not before they got the gold and hid it. They didn't reveal where the treasure was hidden during the trial or afterward. Glint died in prison. Grandpa Jack knew the island in the drawing, and he thought we would pay a visit." "We?" I said. From me to him and back again. Grandpa Jack winked at me. "I want her to have a share of the reward," he explained to Mom, "and a share of the excitement." 2 days later, Mom drove me down to the docks. I saw Grandpa's beautiful old wooden boat, the Marlena, floating there. As excited as I was also afraid. When Mom hugged me goodbye, I almost cried. Grandpa Jax welcomed me aboard Marlena, then told me to report to the cook, a tall man with a parrot on his shoulder. Something about this man made me nervous. I was trembling a bit when he reached to shake my hand. We wore gloves and shook with him right hand, and he used the crutch to get around. Maybe he wanted to hide his limp. Matty McDougall's the name, he said. Really, Hawkins, I replied. Really, Hawkins, his parrot repeated. Soon after, we set sail. There are so many islands in Puget Sound, I wondered how anyone could tell one from another. Until I set eyes on this island, a rocky dome rose above these trees, with small caves in its rock face. Oh, small caves in its rock face. Because it was late in the day, the caves were in shadow. They made it look like the face of a fiend. A dark feeling of something like fear washed over me again. We dropped anchor just offshore. Then Grandpa and I wanted to get some rest in the tiny cabin below decks. MacDougall slept in a hammock up top. We would begin our search the next day. As soon as we approached shore the following morning, I thought I saw something moving upright just beyond the trees. Once ashore, I went to investigate. I meant to be gone for only a minute or two, but as I tried to approach it, the figure moved from tree to tree away from Grandpa and MacDougall. When I jogged, it jogged. When I ran, it ran. After several minutes, I decided to give up the chase. To my surprise, when I turned to go back, the figure leaped from behind the trees. It was a man. He said his name was Ron Reed and that he was a government agent. He even showed me his badge. Listen, he said, this treasure glint 8 years ago. It's 20 boxes full of gold. Easily worth $1 million today. The man you are with is probably armed and definitely dangerous, I gulped. He and his crony were released from federal prison last month, he continued. Ever since then, we've been tailing them. Sooner or later, we knew one of them would be back for the gold. There was no reward, Reed explained, but for helping our country, Grandpa and I would be heroes. Is my grandpa in danger? I asked. Reed smiled at me. Don't worry, he said. I've got this. A few minutes later, we found the MacDougall and Grandpa climbing upward one of the caves, the gaping mouth of the fiend. Reed hid, and I walked up to them alone. Grandpa was relieved to see me. We thought you were lost, he said. I was, I replied, trying to keep my voice level. MacDougall watched me closely. Maybe the kid knows more than she reveals, he said. His parents echoed him. The kid knows. The kid knows. I changed the subject. How is the search going? I asked. Just then, Reed stepped from some nearby trees. He pointed a gun at MacDougall, but before he could fire, MacDougall tossed away his crutch and grabbed me instead. He held me tight in the crook of one arm. When I squirmed, he yanked up my chin until I found it hard to breathe. With his other hand, he drew a gun of his power, pointing it back at Reed. What's going on? Grandpa yelled. Government agent, Reed barked. Put down your gun, MacDougall, and back away. Let's talk terms, MacDougall demanded. I'll give young Riley here for half the treasure. No deal, shouted Reed. Well, then we have ourselves a standoff, MacDougall said. Reed shouted again. You've already done your time for armed robbery. Back away now or you'll spend the rest of your sorry life in the slammer. No can do, MacDougall said. For emphasis, he yanked up on my chin again. Suddenly a voice echoed from inside the cave. For a moment, I thought the fiend had found its voice, but that voice was strangely familiar. MacDougall, I said. Yes, you scum, step down. There, crowbar in hand, stood Johnny Bones. The moment of distraction was all it took. Bones struck MacDougall in the arm. He screamed in pain and dropped his gun. Bones reached down and grabbed it with his free hand. "Hello, Riley," he said. "How did you find us?" I asked. "Didn't have to. I followed you." I grinned and turned to Grandpa, but then Reed called out again. "Johnny Bones, I'll take that gun if you don't mind." "But I do mind," Johnny growled, and with one lightning motion, he threw the crowbar and knocked the gun from Reed's hand. With MacDougall's gun now trained in Reed, Bones walked over, picked up Reed's gun off the ground, and gestured to Reed to join the rest of us. Then a slow smile spread across the face of Johnny Bones. "Listen up, the lot of ya," he said. "Grab some gold and hightail it down to the shore." Down at the water's edge, he gestured toward a second, smaller boat, anchored now near the Marlena. We loaded that gold on the boat, then headed back up the hill for more. It took 4 trips to clear out the cave. After we loaded the rest of the gold on the little boat, Johnny Bone had to handcuff MacDougall so he could take him back into custody without a gun. While Reed was doing that, Bones slipped me something smooth and heavy. It was a single gold bar. He winked at me and whispered, "A little keepsake to help ya remember this a grand adventure. Not that I'd ever forget. To this day, I still dream about it. Some of the dreams are thrilling, but some are nightmares. In them, I can still hear MacDougall's parrot. The kid knows, the kid knows." Soon the rest of us were back on the Marlena, MacDougall in handcuffs. We watched Bones climb aboard his little boat and heard him fire up the engine. He disappeared with $1 million in gold. Well, almost $1 million.